New set, new mechanics, and new cards. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to the table, and today I'm back with another Star Wars Unlimited deck tech video. Not a deck tech video, sorry. Just psyching you out, but it's Secrets of Power, a brand new set with brand new cards, and I'm looking forward to talking about it, and let's talk about it. Starting off with Chancellor Palpatine, a blue-black leader that says as an action you can spend a resource, exhaust him, look at the top 5 of your deck, get a card with plot, reveal it, and draw it. It's kind of like a lot of the cards in One Piece if you ever played One Piece before. Basically, you spend a resource, play a card, get to look at so many cards from the top, and draw it. And draw one of them. It's just really good card advantage because you're getting a look at a lot of cards and you get to pick out the best of the bunch. Generally, because this deck seems like it's willing to play a lot of cards with plot, which is a pretty solid mechanic, not gonna lie. But anyways, I feel like this effect, while card draw doesn't seem to be the most powerful in Star Wars just yet because of how new the game is, I just feel like the later down the line the game gets, the more powerful card draw is going to be. Right now, it's just kind of more focused on board advantage, but card draw seems really good. There isn't a ton of great card advantage engines in the deck, in my opinion. This is a really good one, and it's stapled onto your leader, so I think it could lead to a lot of good power. But once you have 7 resources, you flip Palpatine into a 6/8 that, when deployed, says the next card you play using plot this phase costs 3 less to play. Which, what is plot? Because it kind of, there's a lot of things that matter. It's like, oh, you get to look for plot cards. Oh, you get to play plot cards for less. What do cards with plot do? Let's get into that. Also, this body, just nuts. A 6/8 that can make stuff cost less, I think that's nuts. For 7 resources, because you kind of need a lot in order to justify a leader that flips at 7. But still, really, really solid and powerful looking, not gonna lie. But new cards. The first one I'm going to talk about has plot itself, and that is Cad Bane. So, plot simply means when you deploy a leader, you may play this card from your resources, from your resource pool, paying its cost, and then you get to just replace the top card of your deck with the card that you plot. So, it's kind of like Smuggle, but you can only use it when you deploy your leader, which isn't great, but with Palpatine, when you play a card with plot, it's going to cost 3 less. So you can play Cad Bane, because this costs 5, for 2 resources. And when you do, you get a 4/5 that one played, you get to defeat a unit with 2 or less remaining HP. That, my friends, is pretty freaking good, in my opinion. But then there's also Armor of Fortune, a 2 resource upgrade. It gets a 0/3 buff, and it itself has plot. Which, yeah, I don't think this card's very solid. It's just a common kind of draft chaff card, but it's fine, I guess. But there's also Corrupt Politician, a 1 resource 2/2 that, while you control more units than an opponent, gets Sentinel. A really cheap Sentinel card, I feel like, is generally powerful, especially in Limited, and I just feel like this card could have a lot of potential in the right deck. It's kind of like a good win more card. It seems decent. It seems decent for sure. But then there is I Am the Senate. And this card for 6 resources creates 5 spy tokens, which, if you don't know, because it's a new token, is a 0 cost 0/2 official that has raid 2. So it's kind of like creating 5 2/2s for 6 resources, but they all have 0 power technically. So it's a decent effect. It's a good way to just get a massive board all at once. If Corrupt Politician, it's a pretty good card with the Corrupt Politician. But I feel like I Am the Senate could do a lot of work. For 6 resources being a special rare card that's coming in a starter deck, I just feel like it could have some potential. Maybe. I don't know exactly how to judge this card just yet, but it seems like it could be good. But then there's When Has Become Now. A 1 resource event that says play a card to plot from your resources for 1 resource. It's decent. It's decent. It's nothing insane by any means, but it's a good way to kind of like smuggle something out in a sense. It's kind of like giving one of your things smuggle in your resource pool, but it has to have plot. So it could, in a sense, be powerful. I feel like a lot of generic black cards, white cards, and just generic colorless cards generally don't really do a lot and aren't very good cards in my opinion. There are outliers, obviously, but generally speaking, they're not very good cards and are just way too niche. This card I don't think is too niche because it's kind of, I don't know, it could do some work. I don't think it's insane, but it could do some stuff. But then there is Padme Amidala, a yellow-white leader that says when you reveal or discard one or more cards from your hand, you may exhaust this leader, and if you do, you get to deal 1 damage to a unit. That's a solid effect. You know, getting to deal damage to stuff, especially when you get to choose, is really powerful. I mean, look at Cad Bane, one of the best decks in the meta right now, and this card can do a similar-ish effect, but you get to choose the unit. So it could, by itself, with that effect, you could have some pretty good stuff going for it. And it's also in Cunning, so there's that too, because, you know, Cunning has a lot of good cards. It's just maybe the most powerful aspect in the game. Wink, wink, it is the most powerful aspect in the game. But anyways, once you have 6 resources, you can flip Padme into a 3/8 that says when you reveal or discard 1 or more cards from your hand, you deal 1 damage to a unit. So that, pretty solid. Now, granted, I think the whole reveal discard thing in order to get to deal damage is weaker than Cad Bane, just playing the thing with the Underworld trait. So, in a sense, Padme is like kind of a dialed back version of Cad Bane, which is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think it just... I think Padme has a lot of potential. It just depends on what cards get revealed for her. And the cards that have been revealed so far definitely make me think that Padme has a lot of potential to be a really solid deck. Especially considering that it's just a starter deck. But these cards are right here. The first one being Fortuitive Handmaiden. A 1 resource 2/2 that on attack says you may discard a card from your hand, and if you do, you draw a card. So you get to cycle through for 1 resource as a 2/2. It's just like a good way to just kind of cycle through your deck. And thanks to Padme, get some value off of dealing damage to your opposing units. Dealing damage to an opposing unit. So you're not really losing much of anything. In fact, you could be gaining stuff. Is if you have a card in your hand that just sucks and you're not going to really play, you can just cycle it away with Fortuitive Handmaiden, get a new card, and as a bonus, you get to deal damage to stuff. And I don't know, it seems like a decent effect to me as a 1-cost body. So there's that. I don't know if it's going to be insane, but it seems decent at least. But then there's Captain Typho, a 4 resource 4/5 Sentinel, which that is a solidly statted body. That, in addition, says when this unit is attacked, you may disclose green-white, and if you do, you heal 1 damage from your base. What does disclose mean? Well, if you look down further in the article, it does explain, but basically what it means is you have to reveal cards from your hand until you show off all of the aspects. So if you were to reveal something like a C-3PO, which is also here on the screen, that is a green and white card. Well, you need to disclose green and white. So there you go. You've disclosed green and white by revealing C-3PO from your hand. If you have to disclose 2 cards, you can do that with Captain Typho by revealing something like Jar Jar Binks in your hand. And a Fortuitive Handmaiden if you got it. That way you're disclosing white with the Fortuitive Handmaiden and green with the Jar Jar Binks. So you don't have to just reveal 1 card from your hand in order to get the effect. You can reveal multiple if you need to. And I think that's solid. Plus, you know, with Padme. Oh wait, no, it's 1 or more. Never mind. I was like, oh, if you reveal 2 cards from your hand, you get to deal 2 damage to Amon units instead of just 1 with Padme, but no, it's 1 or more. So, sorry, that's not how it works. I wish it was, but it's not, unfortunately. But Captain Typho, solid card, by all means. A 4 resource 4/5 Sentinel, that can heal really good. Is it cheer level good? Nah, I'm not sure, but it is still really solid nonetheless. But then there's Anakin Skywalker. A 3 resource 3/4 hidden that says while you control a Padme Amidala leader or unit, This unit gets raid 2. So it's kind of like a 3 resource 5/4 with hidden, which is a lot, but only if you're playing Padme. So it's solid in a lot of ways, but it's not like the most insane thing in the world. I think a 3 resource 3/4 hidden with raid 2 is really good. I just don't think it's gonna be like seen all over the place. It's limited to a very few decks, which I think is probably a good thing, because if you saw this card all over the place in Cunning Heroism, which is already a decent combination of aspects in my opinion, yeah, it would make it that much more aggressive, that much more powerful, and that much more likely for you to want to punch the person playing that against you in the face. So there's that. But then there is Jar Jar Binks, a 2 resource 2/2 that when played says you may give another friendly unit +2/+2 for the face. Solid-ish effect. But it also has plot. So you can kind of do, like, you can kind of smuggle this thing out. It's decent. I mean, see, the way that I judge Jar Jar Binks cards, it's like I deduct points immediately just by seeing the name. It's like, okay, -1 point. So Jar Jar Binks, it seems like it's a solid-ish card. I just don't think it's going to really be played anywhere realistically. I would try to kind of like give it a couple extra points, like, oh, you could see it somewhere, but it's Jar Jar Binks. I'm like, I don't give a crap. And it's just like, the card's solid-ish in a point. It's gonna be decent and limited. Outside of that, it's Jar Jar Binks. I'm not gonna give him too much credit. But then there is C-3PO, which seems like a good card in Padme, because this is a 1 resource 1/3 that as an action says you can bounce it back to the owner's hand and give it +2/+2 for the phase. So, or give 8 units +2/+2 for the phase. Why does this card seem good in Padme? Basically, the way that I look at Padme is that you are going to be using a lot of your hand to basically get value off of her own effect. Whether it's discarding cards and not getting to redraw cards like you would with Fortuitive Handmaiden, because I imagine there's going to be cards that say, discard a card, get an effect, that you can play in Padme that are going to be coming out in this set. So you're going to want to have the ability to get cards back into your hand somehow, or have some kind of way to keep your hand up. Because I feel like it's probably going to be a lot more likely to get cards that discard stuff instead of cards that disclose. Disclose is probably not going to be super common early on, but you'll probably see more of it as we go on. Like Hidden. Didn't see too much of it in the last set. Now we got a card with Hidden in this set. So there's an example. But until more cards with Disclose, which I think is a lot better with Padme, I feel like discard stuff in Padme are going to be more likely to be seen. And C-3PO seems like a decent card that, one, makes your board a little bit beefier, a little bit stronger, especially if you're like, oh, I'll just buff Captain Zypho, which you're probably going to see in Padme. And now all of a sudden, it's a 6/7 with Sentinel that can heal you. That's great. And C-3PO, you can just reveal to get value off of Padme or whatever other effects you're revealing it for. And then you can just replay it for 1 and continue that cycle of just getting to get value off of it. Or if you're just discarding it, you can just give a buff to one of your dudes, put it back in the hand, and then just trash it, and then get value that way. So there's that too. C-3PO seems like, of all the C-3POs that we've seen so far, in this deck specifically, I think C-3PO has a lot of potential. But that's it. That's all the spoilers. And I am really looking forward to this set. It's kind of delving more into the dark side of things, it seems like. I mean, obviously there's heroism, so like half of the set's gonna be good. But it's kind of delving more into the dark side of things. Kind of like the corrupt side of the world. Both for the villainous side, because very corrupt if you're a bad guy, and then kind of some of the more corrupt themes of the good people. Like, people seem a lot more shadowed, like the Fortuitive Handmaiden just kind of covering herself up. Anakin Skywalker is just kind of not lit very well. It's just kind of like dark and bright. Nah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. The set looks cool to me, okay? Stop giving me crap. But with all that aside, I hope that you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you all are looking forward to this set as much as I am. With all that aside, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It's completely free, no regrets. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Enjoy.